Hi, Kyle. How are you? How's everything?
Yeah, doing quite well. Thankfully, things are winding down a little bit this week.
Yes. You and I have been speaking for quite a few years now, and most of our interactions have been virtual. But I feel like I've known you many years now, Kyle. And I feel like I don't have to act, and I'm always myself when I'm speaking to you. And I know that you liked one of those videos that I did, which was more of a lighthearted, kind of fun video that I called Why Acting Makes You Real. So I would love to hear some of your thoughts. Did anything really resonate with you? Did you find some of those points practical for you? Or
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the aspect that most resonated with me was really, it's not so much truly acting, in my opinion. It's allowing more of that authenticity to come out, or who you really are, your passion to come out in your interactions. So often, especially in the professional realm, you want to come off as professional, but that can be sometimes dull, or you don't, show your true passion for what you're discussing with somebody because you're afraid of how it's going to come off. But at the same time, letting that passion come forward can actually be much more influential and impactful than just being very monotone and quote unquote professional.
yeah, well, how do you define some of the best actors that you like? Let's say
Find
what
some
do
of the
you like
best
about
actors.
them? Yeah, what do you like about them more than, let's say, others?
I would have to say, I mean, to me, it comes down to, yeah, making you feel like it's truly who they are. Um, Making you feel like you're being transported to whatever time that is, whatever era. That's where some of the greatest movies and I think greatest acting can come in, when it's takes place in in the past or in a different country, and allows that really to come forward and come to life,
Yeah.
versus when it's just, yeah, it still can be good acting when it's just your everyday or present day basically. But I think that takes a lot less work, and so you maybe don't appreciate as much as when somebody can do it really well, say for like a different time period, especially.
Yeah. So they make you believe. So it sounds like you agree with that point that I was making, because some of the actors that I like also are the ones that, as a even though it may sound like a paradox, I don't feel like they're acting. I actually feel like it's effortless, And there's a number of such actors, but like Robert De Niro, for example, is one that, for me, he's able to get into that role, whether it's a comedy or a drama, and I don't feel like he's really acting. Like, I really feel like he just personifies whatever character he plays. So, what about childhood? Let's say if you think back to your childhood and today, would you say that you used to act much more then than today? Do you think that we need to revisit our innate ability to act as children, as adults? What do you think about that?
Definitely, I think, again, in your professional life still, but especially in your personal life. Me and my fiance have a bunch of fun doing different impressions, or basically different characters, just because it adds fun and enjoyment, laughter, brings that lightheartedness into your day to day, which I think it's that keeping young at heart, of
Yeah.
still having that childlike fun, and not letting everything else going on bring you down or always be serious.
Yeah, I'm glad you chose to react to this video, particularly because of the holiday mood we're all and the spirit we're all in. And to your point, I think that we don't do that enough at work. Also, at work, see, you mentioned your fiance and the people that we know, our family, our loved ones that are next to us, that we know that if we don't act something out right, they'll have our benefit of the doubt. But I think if we are able to create that atmosphere at work also, and maybe just act a little bit and just not take ourselves as seriously, but I think we'll make each other believe, and we can create a stronger culture and stronger bonds as well. Less looking ahead into 2021.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
that's
think I think it's important to have that fun and again, laughter and lightheartedness in your interactions with your colleagues as well.
Yeah.
As you said, it builds that culture, it builds those bonds, I think, better than just the everyday of, well, how are you doing? Oh, what's going on? Like getting into those deeper conversations, or at least just say some of that lightheartedness that feels that connection between people.
Yeah. What kind of practical applications do you think, learning how to act may have in the job interview setting, for example? When you're trying to be your best, trying to impress someone, if you think back to the times when you've interviewed, and you used to prepare and, what kind of image you portrayed and wanted to convey, do you think acting has a role as you prepare for interviews?
I think it can. I think it comes down to you still have to be prepared and obviously still professional, but at the end of the day, everybody talks about that culture fit. And if you want to find the right culture fit for you personally, and the company wants to find the right culture fit. And by letting your personality come out during that interview, I think allows both of you to evaluate that better. They're going to get to see a little bit of you get to see how they react to it. And if that's not a good fit, you might not get the job, but at the end of the day, potentially you wouldn't have been happy in that job anyways, because it wouldn't have been the right fit.
Yeah.
And so, again, I don't know if it's necessarily acting, but it's allowing that your personality to come out, and honestly, maybe less acting professional all the time, and letting a little bit of yourself out there and, create that bond and allow that charisma to come out.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think in terms of trying to understand and learn as much as you can about each other in a very short, limited amount of time, because it's difficult enough to get to know yourself and even your loved ones, even after many years of knowing them. But then you try to bring someone on board to your company or go to this company and try to, find out what are they really like. And so in that short amount of time, my argument is that, look, you need to bring your authentic self, just like you suggested. But practice is so important, because that practice allows you to connect that much better and give you that flexibility and that lenience. Even if you don't necessarily remember a point, you can actually act it out a little bit, because look, you practiced it, you know the foundation of why it is that your response was going to be such. And so you can improvise and allow the person to see you how you want to be seen, ultimately, not how they see you, how they may see you if you stumble because you're trying to remember something. And even though you're confident and you're an expert, just because you didn't practice enough and you couldn't act in that moment. One thing I do not like to say is that the words culture fit, because I know that we all use it, and I've been in the corporate world for 16 years, Kyle, and that's the two words that I know they're used a lot, and I don't use them just because it's a static understanding. That person hiring a candidate is looking at their company and their set of experiences as one that's fixed in that time frame. But culture also grows. Culture, I look at culture even from the word of it, right? You culture bacteria in a dish so that it grows. You culture yogurt so that it grows, right? And culture also has to grow in a particular direction, but never. So if somebody that you're trying to hire brings new skills and a completely different universe, different principles, is an independent thinker, but nevertheless is a team player as well. I think that that person has to act and bring that authentic self to them, show the emotions, so that the employer may actually step outside of their comfort zone and maybe be more likely to open up to this possibility of hiring somebody that may be outside of what they consider the culture fit to be.
Yeah, which I think again goes back to, where allowing your personality to come out can create that better connection and allow them to truly evaluate that or truly say feel that connection, versus if you're not allowing any of that to come out, they're almost left guessing of, okay, well,
right,
yeah, they gave great answers, but who is this person really? What's their actual personality like? What are they going to be like as a teammate on this team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try to get to know the answers rather than the person, which is, I think, a big mistake. That's a great point. I agree. And acting just allows you to get them to get to know the person that you are. One last question I have, Kyle, is just what has your experience been like in these virtual meetings, trying to act? Have you become a better actor? Have you found yourself acting more through these back-to-back Zooms? Share with our friends. It's holidays are coming up, so I know they're going to give us a benefit of the doubt, no matter what.
Yeah, I think in that sense, the acting can play a big role in just when you're not face to face, it can be harder to pick up on the more subtle body language or cues that you normally would see, or the energy that you would feel off of somebody during a meeting.
Yep.
And so by you acting, or the other person acting those feelings, or those, what normally would be more subtle body gestures out, it allows the other person to better understand the conversation and, again, build the connection. Or I might be missing out on the body language that the doctor doesn't want to talk about this piece of data, but because of the virtual, you can't see that, especially if I already have something pulled up and there's this tiny little screen at the bottom. I can barely see what kind of body language is going on. And so in that case, acting out those a little bit more exaggerated form, and I guess allows both parties to benefit, so that you're not wasting either person's time. And again, you can pick that up and build that rapport better when you have those cues.
Have you observed others do that better, or like throughout this pandemic and throughout this, ramping up our virtual conferences? And
I think it really varies. I think it really varies from person to person, and some of that is probably just their own personality, and some of it's also maybe how often they're using Zoom calls.
Yep.
And so again, it's just something that I've started to notice, and I guess be more cognizant of myself and my interactions with people.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, Kyle. You're one of the most authentic people that I know in the business, but both you and I are going to act more and more and bring out our own genuine selves, I'm sure, in 2021 ahead. And I hope many of our colleagues do as well. And hope they comment with their thoughts and their suggestions as well.
I appreciate that, Tim. It was awesome to talk to you, and I hope you have a wonderful holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you and your family and all your loved ones. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.